Welcome back to Norse Mythology 101. Last time we delved into the rich history of pre-Christian Scandinavia and explored the origins of Norse mythology. Today we're diving even deeper, focusing on the gods themselves. We're diving into the legends, the myths, and the stories of Odin, Thor, and Freyja, the big players in Norse mythology. Picture ancient Scandinavia, sometime between the 5th and 8th centuries, before Christianity began to reshape the region. This was the time when the old gods were not just stories, they were living, breathing parts of the world. Today we're going to peel back the layers and get to the roots of who Odin, Thor, and Freyja really were, why they mattered, and how they were worshipped. Before the arrival of Christianity, the Norse people had a belief system deeply connected to nature and the spirits around them. This belief system, which we now refer to as Norse mythology, actually evolved over many centuries. While the organized worship of gods like Odin, Thor, and Freyja becomes more prominent from the 5th century onward, aspects of the religion were present as early as the Bronze Age, around 1700 to 500 BCE. During the Bronze Age, for instance, sun worship was significant, as evidenced by rock carvings and the famous Trondheim sun chariot. The concept of a powerful sun deity or solar symbolism may have carried over into later Norse mythologies with deities like Sol or Sunna. Rituals like the burial of weapons and votive offerings also persisted into the Viking Age, showing continuity in religious practices. These early symbols and rituals eventually merged with the mythology we recognize today. However, it's from the 5th centuries during the migration period in the Viking Age that we see more concrete evidence, like runic inscriptions, artifacts, and written records, depicting these gods and their stories. The Viking Age in particular offers a wealth of archaeological findings that give us a clearer picture of how these deities were worshipped and how central they were to Norse culture. Early influence from neighboring European cultures also played a role in shaping what would become the more complex and organized belief system of Norse mythology. Nordvig 2024. Alright, let's kick things off with Odin, the Allfather. Odin is not just a single-faceted god, he is the god of wisdom, war, death, poetry, and magic. He's a complex character, embodying the traits of both a wise sage and a cunning trickster. In myth, Odin is portrayed as a relentless seeker of knowledge, willing to go to great lengths to gain wisdom. One of the most famous stories about Odin is how he sacrificed one of his eyes at Mimir's well to gain the knowledge of the cosmos. He also hung himself from Yggdrasil, the world tree, for 9 days and nights to obtain the secrets of the runes, a powerful system of symbols used for magic and divination. Odin's nature is dualistic. He is both creator and destroyer, the god of war and poetry. His association with death is seen in his role as the leader of the Anherjar, the chosen warriors who reside in Valhalla, awaiting the final battle of Ragnarok. But Odin is not just a warrior god. He is also deeply connected to Satyr, a form of magic often associated with women. By practicing Satyr, Odin broke traditional gender norms, showcasing his willingness to embrace all forms of power. However, it's important to understand the societal context of Satyr. In Norse society, magic like Satyr was often seen as a practice for women, and men engaging in it could face societal taboos. Odin's involvement in Satyr shows his disregard for these norms in his quest for power and knowledge, making him a more complex and controversial figure. The societal norms around gender and magic likely evolved over time, with Odin's mastery of Satyr serving as a powerful symbol of his defiance of traditional roles. Archaeologically speaking, Odin's worship is traced back to the Rhineland area, where votive stones suggest early reverence for deities resembling him. His influence spread across Scandinavia, especially in regions linked to power and governance. Place names like Odense in Denmark and Unsøy in Norway bear his name, reflecting his widespread veneration. Additionally, the figure of Odin is depicted with his two ravens, Hugin and Munin, who symbolize thought, and memory, and his eight-legged horse Sleipnir, further emphasizing his role as a god of wisdom and shamanic journeying, Nordvig 2024. Odin was not always the benevolent ruler. He was known to be fickle and capricious, even effeminate in certain ways, contrasting the more straightforward masculinity of gods like Thor. His unpredictability made him a god to be revered and feared. In some stories, he's a harbinger of death and chaos, orchestrating battles and choosing who lives and dies, with little concern for morality. Yet, this darker side of Odin only adds to his complexity as a deity who embodies the full spectrum of human experience, from wisdom to warfare, poetry to madness. To sum up Odin, in my view, and granted this is not shared by everybody, but he's the ultimate win-at-all-costs kind of god. Morals, dignity, they didn't really factor into his decisions. He was the god of the royals and the elites, not everyday folks. Odin's favor was as fickle as the wind. One minute you're riding high, winning battles with his blessing, and the next you're dropping dead from a cough because, let's be honest, he didn't really care. He was all about power, knowledge, and getting what he wanted, no matter the cost. Next, we're going to look at Thor, the thunder god. This is the god of the people, the regular man, protector of humanity and the embodiment of physical strength. Thor is the Norse equivalent of a superhero, not like Marvel Cinematic Universe superhero. He's the one you call when giants are at the gates, or when your crops need a good storm to grow. Thor's primary weapon is Mjolnir, his magical hammer that never misses its mark and always returns to its hand. But Mjolnir isn't just a weapon. It's also a symbol of blessings. In Norse culture, Thor's hammer was used to consecrate marriages, births, and even funerals. Thor's role as the protector of both gods and humans is central to his character. He is often depicted battling giants who represent chaos and destruction. His greatest foe is the Midgard serpent Jormungandr, a creature so massive that it encircles the entire world. Thor's final battle with Jormungandr at Ragnarok is one of the most iconic stories in Norse mythology. Both the god and the serpent are destined to slay each other, symbolizing the inevitable clash between order and chaos. Thor's popularity among the common people is evident in the numerous Thor's hammer amulets found across Scandinavia, particularly during the Christianization period. These amulets were a form of resistance against the new religion, a way for the Norse people to hold on to their traditions. Archaeological sites, like the temple at Uppsala, reinforce Thor's significance as the protector of the community. Thor's name is also found in place names near natural features like rivers and mountains, further emphasizing his deep connection to the land and the people. Erickson 2017. In addition to his strength, Thor was also known for his straightforward, no-nonsense attitude. Unlike Odin, who often relied on cunning and deception, Thor was a god of action. He solved his problems with his hammer, and his courage in battle made him one of the most beloved gods among the Norse people. His chariot, drawn by two goats, Tangrisnir and Tangjostar, also played a significant role in his mythos, symbolizing his relentless pursuit of justice and order in a chaotic world. Thor's association with thunderstorms and agriculture also made him a vital deity for ensuring the fertility of the land and the protection of the people. In many ways, Thor represents the heart and soul of the common people. He was a god who didn't rely on deception or cunning, but on his unwavering strength, sense of justice, and moral clarity. Thor stood as the stalwart protector of humanity, a defender against chaos, and a symbol of stability in an unpredictable world. His commitment to protecting a people and maintaining order made him beloved by all, especially the farmers, warriors, and working class who saw him as their divine champion. While Odin was revered by kings and nobles, Thor was a god of the people, respected, admired, and loved for his uncompromising dedication to their well-being. And now we move on to Freyja, the goddess of love, fertility, war, and magic. Freyja is one of the most multifaceted figures in Norse mythology, embodying both life and death. As a Vanir goddess, Freyja is deeply connected to nature and fertility, making her a central figure in rituals related to harvest and childbirth. However, she is not just a nurturing figure. Freyja is also a fierce warrior who claims half of the slain in battle for her hall, Folkvanger, while Odin takes the other half to Valhalla. Freyja's connection to magic is particularly strong. She is a master of Satyr, the same type of magic practiced by Odin, which involves seeing and influencing the future. Freyja's association with Satyr links her to the darker, more mysterious aspects of magic, and she is often invoked in matters of love, fertility, and war. Her beauty and power make her a sought-after figure in the myths, and she is often depicted riding a chariot pulled by two cats, symbolizing her fierce independence and connection to the natural world. Freyja's animals, especially her cat and her boar, Hildisvini, symbolize both fertility and war. In one myth, she even disguises herself as a bird to search for her lost husband, Udr, highlighting her resourcefulness and determination. While archaeological evidence of her worship is less clear than that of Odin and Thor, the Gulgabar, tiny gold foil figures found in Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, might represent Freyja in her role as a fertility goddess. These figures, often found in post holes, suggest that rituals involving Freyja were deeply embedded in the construction and foundation of sacred places. Nordvig 2024. Freyja's duality as both a goddess of love and war makes her one of the most intriguing figures in Norse mythology. She represents the full spectrum of female power, from the nurturing aspects of fertility and motherhood to the fierce independence of a warrior. Freyja's myths often involve themes of transformation and sacrifice, reflecting her complex nature as a deity who straddles the line between life and death. Despite her beauty and gentleness, Freyja is not to be underestimated. She is a force of nature commanding respect and awe from gods and mortals alike. Freyja stands as one of the most powerful and revered figures in the Norse Pantheon, embodying the untamed spirit of nature, strength, and savagery. She's not just a goddess of love and fertility. She's a fierce warrior who commands respect even from Odin himself, who grants her the first pick of the slain in battle. As the mother of the Valkyries and the first shaman, Freyja represents the raw, primal essence of Norse culture, where strength, wisdom, and a deep connection to nature are paramount. To me, she signifies the true spirit of the Norse people, unyielding and wild, yet deeply respected and loved by all who follow her. Like most Norse mythology and Norse culture in general, one major challenge in studying this period is the lack of solid written records from the pre-Christian era. Most of what we know comes from sources written after Christianity had already influenced the region, meaning some stories might have been altered. Additionally, while there is evidence of outside influences, such as from the Near East, mainstream scholarship often focuses more on European connections. This highlights the complexity and ongoing debates in understanding these deities. Erickson, 2017. To uncover the truth, scholars rely on a combination of texts, rune stones, and archaeological finds, and comparative mythology. This multifaceted approach helps us better understand what worship in pre-Christian Scandinavia might have looked like. Nygaard, 2015. And there you have it, a broad overview of Odin, Thor, and Freyja, three gods who shaped the lives of the Norse people. Don't worry, we'll be doing deep dives into each one of these gods individually in future episodes, so stay tuned. Join us again for our next episode, where we'll continue exploring the Norse Pantheon, covering 3 more gods. If you enjoyed this overview, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. See you next time on Norse Mythology 101.